Thank you so much for joining Straight Out of Savannah. I am super excited. My guest, Denise Damijo, is here and she's going to tell you exactly who she is and what she does. So, Denise, take it away.
Hello, everyone. First of all, Tammi, I'm so excited to be here with you today. It feels like we've been trying to get together on this for a while now, and we
Yes.
finally did. So, thank you so much for having me on your wonderful, amazing show. And then also, thank you for introducing me to your audience. Well, a little bit about me is that let's start with what I do. I educate people on health, wellness, and spirituality so that they could up level their holistic life consistently and have clarity and confidence in their soul calling. And
Oh my
so,
God.
um, I love doing that. I love talking about all of the things. And yeah, that's what I'm on the journey of doing right now, presently in my life.
That is so awesome. So, how did you get there? Let's talk about that. Like,
Yeah.
did you just come out the womb wanting to do that, or how did that arise?
Well, actually, you know what? It has been a journey for me. It just didn't happen, overnight. It seems like I always wanted to help people. That was evident from a little kid. I always wanted to help people. I was an advocate for people. I remember when I was on the fourth grade, the fourth graders playground, and there was a girl. Her name was Kathleen. I'm not gonna say her last name, but her name was Kathleen, and she was a bully.
Oh,
And
look at that.
I remember that. I remember. But she was a bully and she used to bully me. And so my grandmother always used to tell me, because at the time I was living with my grandmother. I lived with my grandmother for about 4 years um, out of my whole life of being in foster care. So I was living with my grandmother. And in that time, it was like this girl just kept on bullying me. And I asked my grandmother about it. She's like, ignore, turn the other cheek. And I was like, okay, But then there was one time she talked about my mom. She said your mama something something, and because I had so much pain around my mother, and then also my mother was also my grandmother and I loved her so much, I just went off. And I'm not going to say exactly what happened, but it involved the janitor's broom and handcuffs. um And from then on, she stopped bullying me, but then she would go and bully other people. So instead of, me just ignoring it and saying, oh, she's off of me now, I would defend the other people now and tell her, no, you don't bully anybody. And so that made me feel good, because not only did I stand up for myself, but I stood up for other people. Now, I wouldn't advise anybody to do anything with a broom. I'm on camera saying that. I am not saying that that was okay, but that's how I got started. That's how I really started to advocate for people. And that was, like I said, I was in the fourth grade when that happened.
So you were a beacon of light
Yeah,
in the
I
fourth
feel like
grade.
it. And let me just tell you this. When you're a beacon of light, a lot of darkness gets attracted to it. Can we talk
Uh,
about that?
I was gonna say preaching to the choir, honey, because you know what? My life path is 9.
Mm, that's why we have a connection. The life path of 9 is beautiful. But yeah, we're gonna have to talk about that later off camera, because yes, I just learned about the not the life path of 9. I have a friend like that has a life path. But anyway, okay.
I actually had a numerology. I did interviewed a numerologist on the show, and
Ooh,
yeah, girl, it was so amazing. I love him. I actually took a class from him too. He teaches classes, and they're like $50, $60 or something like that, and he teaches them one on one.
okay.
And I actually was saying that next year I think I'm going to take some more, because he has about 5 or 6 classes, and he's so good. He actually like read me while we were on the thing, and he shared that with me, and he was like, you're a 9, and he was like, and you're like an idea factory, and he was like, you get ideas, all the time. He said, your issue is, sometimes you have to connect those. And he was like, and you're a visionary, and so this is the problem that you have why he was like, you need people in the middle, to help you to push your vision out. He was like, because you know what the vision is, and he was really good. And he was like, and nines are like humanitarians. And he was like, and that's why, and I was like, okay. He said, you were the child that, would just give things. He said, and you're still a giver, and he was like, I said, yeah, I was a person that would give my coat to somebody if they were
Mm.
cold, and I would only have one, know.
Mm.
But yeah. So, and when you are that beacon of light, and when you recognize it, you are right. You have to deal with a lot of stuff, and you have to. I think for me, I had to be. I had to put this coating on for myself, because I literally, I'm such a giver, and I always have been. I'm still a giver, I still give. And but I have to realize that sometimes it's not for me to give,
Mm.
and so now I'm more directed and more guided,
Mhm.
because I'm that person that would give to the homeless and stuff, just all the time, and there's so many, and they always on the street, and so I have to be goal directed, and have to say, okay, listen to spirit. So let's talk about that, how that darkness can come through, especially because you're a beacon of light, because everybody's talking about the shadows now, right? That shadow work book.
Oh, yes, that's popular. Yeah, I've seen it
I
rotate.
have it. It's
Oh,
good.
really?
Hmm.
Okay, well, I'm gonna have to get, I want to get it. I want to get it now. So thank you so much, and I honor you for actually, expressing your, humanitarian nature of giving. I love that, and that's one of the things that I knew about the nine life path is that
Hmm.
they're givers, and it's beautiful heart. And so, thank you for all that you do, and even the things that you haven't gotten recognized for. Thank you so
Right.
much.
Yeah, you're
Thank
welcome. Thank you. Thank you
you.
for honoring me.
So, okay, so let's talk about, like you said, the darkness. So I realized this later on in life, but I'm a 11 too. And
Okay.
so with that, and then, there's so many other things that I am. I found out I was a seer, but I've been seeing since
That's
I
what
was
my
like,
husband is. I think he's an 11, because I know he's a
really?
double digit. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Wait a minute. Let me just tell you, you guys, if he's an 11, then you guys will get along just like that. Yeah, that's why. Like, that is a good combination. Anyway,
Now,
it's a good
also, I'm a
combination.
Scorpio and he's a Virgo. So, we're
Mm.
like that perfect. Yeah.
Whoa. Okay. So this is very interesting, but
Yeah.
oh my God. Okay. So in the nines, and I see it now. I'm really excited now because this is like, yay, this is my area.
I know, right? We could
I
geek
feel
out.
so comfortable here.
I knew this. That's why I knew you had to come. That's why I was like, I
Yes.
don't know what's going on, but I got to get this girl on the show.
And I'm so glad to be here. So with the darkness, like I had a lot of, and this is also, I would say that it depends upon your life path, not just necessarily the number, but what you're supposed to or intended on doing in this life. And
Yes.
sometimes, and this is, I know that people are going to be like, what? But what I've learned from my own experiences is that there had to be a balance. If everything was all peachy keen for me and nothing gave was a little bit of troubling, then I wouldn't have had the capacity that I have now in order to advocate for the people I need to advocate for, including myself. And so I'm excited um, that I actually went through these challenging times because they taught me. So I learned so much of it. It was a lot of darkness. And I used to ask God, like, am I, the stepchild that you hate? Or, have you forgotten about me? I did ask him those questions. I had those concerns because I just felt like I was being treated so unfairly of the things that were happening to me. And some of these things were just ridiculous out of the box things, like, how did I become a milk carton baby when I was a baby? Like, that doesn't even sound realistic. And some
Right.
of the things that have happened to me over the course of my life just really didn't sound realistic. But what I will say is this: the darkness that happens, um, it has, of course, I believe and truthfully believe that the light will always overcome,
Oh,
right?
yeah. Yeah.
Always overpower. and
Yeah.
everything else. The darkness, I feel that I have the experience was necessary. Now, that being
Yes.
said, do we want to promote darkness? No, that's
No.
not my job. But I honored the experiences that I had. And let me just tell you why. So let's just say last year, I had an experience and I finally let this like twin flame energy go, right? And it was like, I'm like, why am I going through this? And this is so hard and all this. But at the
Yeah.
same time, the thing that had came, it's almost the very thing that had tried to come to destroy me, that
Hmm.
tried to come to harm me in some kind of way, even if it wasn't purposeful,
Yes.
very thing that was used for my stepping stool. It helped me to
Yeah.
become this person that was so much more stronger and wiser and
Yes.
everything else. And I'm
Yes.
not saying that darkness, you need darkness to always do that, but a lot of times, if you transmute it correctly, if you utilize it correctly, it can and will. And so
Yeah.
I gave honor to that experience. And I said,
Yes.
I did say 50 feet. Never see it. I never wanted to see the experience again. I'm not welcoming the experience back in, but
No. But
I'm
you're honoring where it took you.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah. That is so powerful. Because
Yeah.
the thing is, we all have those, and I really feel like, because you know what I think about it, I've done probably, oh God, I think at least 100 interviews now.
Ooh.
And I've talked to so many different people, and this is actually a theme, especially in the spiritual community. That's kind of why I started, pivoted and chose my niche to interview spiritual entrepreneurs, because this is a theme for us. It's like we all have this dark night of the soul, and sometimes it's a dark period of the soul, and not just the night.
Right there, that one.
And a lot of times it's not, it's because I used to say that too. One of the things I asked God one day, because okay, so I was raised Pentecostal holiness.
Me too.
Okay.
Apostolic Pentecostal.
Oh my gosh. So. And so,
Mhm.
I asked God, I was like, why did I have to go through so much in my life so young?
Yes.
That was what I asked, because oh man, because I went through stuff that older women, in my life were saying, oh my God, you're going through this, and you're still sane, and you're still smiling, and all that kind of stuff. So when we talk about that, how did you navigate that without like losing your mind going through these things? Because I can feel that it was a treacherous road for you.
So I did lose my mind at one point in time. It was lost. It was definitely lost. It was when I was 21 years old, and I went through a really dark period. My grandmother, just recently passed away. I did not appreciate and like how she did. It was a family situation. I felt like she was taken advantage of. There was a lot of just really horrible, dark things that happened there. And then I also had to take care of my father. I was so I'm his only child, and he was really in a bad space. And it was like, well, he never took care of me, and he was also abusive when I was with him. Why do I gotta take care of him? I'm like, why is that my thing? But the thing about it is, it was a conviction that I had for myself, that I made for myself, because I wanted to show my kids. I had two kids at the time, how family is supposed to help family. And this is hence also, also knowing when it's time for you to give, when it's time for you to do. You have to really be discerning of that.
Yes.
I do not like regret taking care of my dad. I'm glad that I did it. But if it was my child, I would tell him no. At that age, I would tell him no, because um it's a lot of responsibility, and it can be so challenging. And so with
Mhm.
me, it wasn't just taking care of him and then also my two younger kids. It was also, I had to fight this really challenging situation with another family member, because of the situation that he was in, and it was for his battle. I was advocating for him
Right.
in his when he couldn't advocate for himself. So that's another story of me having to show up for someone else and advocate for him, and at the same time, because I was his child, I was advocating for myself. And so because of that, and let me just tell you this, I went down a dark hill. I still was trying to mourn my grandmother, which I really couldn't effectively do.
Right.
And just was so deeply hurt and wounded, and I had nobody to really help me through that. I turned
Yes.
to alcohol and I turned to ecstasy pills. That was my way out. So in the situation that I had, I was on ecstasy pills for like for a little while. Now I would maybe about a year. That was a year phase that I went through that, and it blew my mind. Like when I say literally, it really blew my mind to the point where I couldn't even remember like walking like 5 steps forward. And then I'm like, why am I going this way? And I remember one time I was sitting on the couch. I went to the couch because came out from my bedroom, and I was walking down the hall to the kitchen. And I knew I knew I was going somewhere, but I couldn't remember. By the time I got to the kitchen, which was maybe 10 steps away, I was like, why am I here? What am I doing? And I literally had to, you know how like you have that brief moment of, oh yeah, oh I remember, and you
Yeah.
go. No, I sat on the couch for 5 to 10 minutes trying to figure out. I know I was here. I could not for the life of me figure it out. It scared the mess out of me, and I had started to develop memory problems because of the damage that I had did to my brain. And so in that, and that's why I say I did lose my mind at one point in time. In that time also, and this is another reason why I was trying to escape with different kinds of things that were not really good for me, like
Yes.
alcohol and drugs, is
Yes.
because in that time I had this nervous break where literally I was crying for about 5, 6 hours straight. And I'm not talking about like little tears. I'm talking about
And
crying
you're
and
talking
crying.
about all out.
Oh yes, all out on the floor, snot, all this kind of stuff. And that's when I had the break. But the after the break, I was having like some amazing, incredible, all my giftings heightened. I already had giftings. I knew I had giftings. I didn't exactly know what kind of giftings all I had, but I knew I could, see things and hear things and all of the things, right? But
So
I
you knew
didn't
you were
know.
special.
Oh, I knew that. Yeah, I was always special, like. But that I found that out when I was about 5, right? So like
Mm-hmm.
that's the youngest I was that I can remember when I
Yeah.
first found out about my giftings, and
Mm-hmm.
so it all heightened, and I could not control it. I was scared. I was literally scared of what I was seeing, what I was experiencing, and it scared the mess out of me because I did not know how to control it. And nobody else could tell me, because nobody else, number one, I didn't really talk to anybody about
That's
it.
what I was gonna say. That part.
I did not. I
I
did
mean,
not.
who do you tell?
Exactly. Who do you feel safe with? Who do
Right.
you feel safe with? Like I didn't feel safe with anybody telling them about my gifts, or telling them also about the things that I was going through. Because number one, people are very judgmental, the ones that I was around at least.
Yep.
And I didn't feel like I would be understood. I felt like I was going to be misunderstood. And so how I navigated that, and what also helped me to bring my memory down. Number one, age was on my side. Thank God it happened at a younger age than an older age, because the recovery process probably would have been a lot different, if
Right.
at all.
Right.
Right. Number two is I started to just really, that's when I started to learn about positive affirmations and speaking things over your life, and really it's basically almost pretty much speaking spells over
Yeah.
your own life, and
Okay, that part.
and conditioning your mind to think and believe a certain thing, right?
Yes.
And so then that's when my memory started coming back, and I started to also use different kinds of natural remedies and stuff like that to help my memory as much as possible. And I regained a lot of my memory, even up to this day. I still have a little bit of memory issues, but nothing to the point where it was. I mean, it was like I should have been in a hospital somewhere. Like it was that it
Girl,
went that bad.
that's what happened with me with the long COVID. That's what I'm still dealing with.
Oh no.
Yeah, that's why I know exactly. I thought I had early dementia. I was like, oh my God, oh my God.
Panicking.
I was,
Yes.
I was, I couldn't remember. Like if somebody tell me something, 5 minutes later, I couldn't remember it. Like
Wow.
short-term memory, like nothing. I can remember
Wow.
stuff from in the past. So that's why I was like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. You know, but anyway, yeah. Yeah, I
It is a
understand it.
scary thing. It is a
Very.
scary thing. And not to mention it, for me, it was even more so scary for me because my grandmother had it. And, even though that she didn't pass away from be having Alzheimer's, she had, Alzheimer's, and she could not remember. And it was just such um, a horrifying thing seeing such a wonderful, amazing, strong Black woman debilitated like that. And
Yeah.
so then my dad also had dementia, and seeing him, go through the motions and everything else, to the point where when I finally had to stop taking care of my dad, he had forgot how to swallow, and he had to get a permanent feeding tube put in his stomach. And he was in a well, before that he was in a hospital bed when he forgot how to swallow and everything else. Well, right before he forgot how to swallow, and I was pureeing his food up because he had to have surgery on his neck or something, and I was pureeing his food, and it was just a horrible situation. And I'm like, oh my gosh, now I have memory problems, I'm going to be just like them. I'm like 21 thinking that I'm now them. And it was just a horrifying situation that I went through. But the navigation, even though at that time, and let me just tell you what's so wonderful and awesome about this time period that we are in. There's
Girl,
more.
you are on point because I was actually getting ready to ask you that. Yes.
So there's more of us here now. There's more of us speaking out. There's more of us telling our stories. And there's more of us willing to connect with others, teach others, help others, assist others, collaborate with others, to the point where we don't have to feel alone. Back then, I felt alone. And even though that I was able to navigate, the road was hard and lonely. It was very hard and lonely. And I
Yes.
felt like out of place. I felt like I was on a totally different planet, and I was
Yes.
the only alien there.
Yes. Yes.
And so that's what is so wonderful about this time is that we do have this connection. We have shows like you are doing right now,
Yeah.
where people could go and have, oh, I remember feeling like this, or I
Yes.
went through this. And
Yes.
now they don't feel crazy, because that's the one thing that I used to feel. I felt like I was insane, like something was wrong with
Yes.
me.
Yes.
I was off. I'm
Yes.
imagining things,
Mm-hmm.
all of the things. And
All the
now I
things.
had got validation, like, oh, I'm not crazy. This is really a thing. Oh, thank you. It took me like a million years for me to find that out, but at least I found it out, kind of thing. And so,
Yes. Yes.
so much for your shows that are helping us, people like us, to
Yes.
find some closure, find some identity.
Yes. And actually, because what I feel is when I bring the people on and we connect, it's an amazing time because I understand, you understand, we understand each other, and we can actually share it in a way that other people can understand it. So yeah,
Exactly.
I mean, it's just, I just geek out on it. I have so
Right?
much fun. I'm like, okay, yes, because it's almost like we're speaking the same language, and
Exactly.
other people don't understand it. So as you move forward through that, what was the gift for you in that? Like, after you got through it and after you made it to the other side, what did you see when you looked back and you looked at lessons? Because that's what we do. So what did you see as the gifts from, what you took away from that experience?
Well, the reflection was badass. I'm telling you, it's badass, because the things that I learned from the things that I went through with my dad and that experience and everything else. Number one, I realized that there's a old saying that the devil doesn't come in to rob empty vaults. Well, it is true. I feel like I
That's true.
realized how powerful I was, and stopping me from evolving into the being that I am now and still becoming would have been a good thing for, for the darkness to win, for things that did not want to see certain things that I'm doing, the good things that I'm doing in life, to prevail. And so I learned how much of a badass that I was. I learned, also honored my younger self. And I think that for all of us, we need to honor our younger selves, our child selves, of what they had to carry in order to get us to where we are now.
Oh,
See,
yes.
there's a time that where we think that they're separate, like our younger self is all the way, back there, and then our future self is there, and and all of the things, whereas there's four of us, really. It's our younger self, our present self, our future self, but also our spiritual being self, and it's always here together, here at one time. And so every time I look back on those experiences, first of all, I honor my younger self. I honor my child self. Like, wow, damn, you're badass. Like, thank you. Like, thank you for getting us here, right? And
Yes.
so I'm so excited for that. But also another lesson that it taught me is that I'm always going to have a good heart. I'm always going to want to help and advocate for people. But the thing about it is that I need to first learn how to advocate for myself. I need to first be strong for myself and do for myself, because if I break and fail, I can't help anybody else.
Right.
So, that's the thing. And I'm not doing this help in order to gain something back from them, so they wouldn't be able to help me if I break. So helping myself to be strong and stand firm and be in a stance where I can advocate for people is the most beneficial thing that I could do for the people that I'm trying to help. So that was one of the lessons that I learned. Another lesson that I learned is that the things about life, there's
Mhm.
always two things that will always present itself:
Yes, yes.
unlearned lessons and also your purpose. In both of those instances, in those instances that happened when I was a child, I learned a whole bunch of lessons, and it was like lessons that continued to come. It was the same lesson. Oh, you like to help people, so we're gonna have you to help people, but these aren't the right people that you're helping, and so you're gonna get damaged. You're gonna get, just jacked up in the process because you haven't learned your lesson on who you're supposed to be helping. So I learned that these unlearned lessons continue to happen until we learn them. And then I also learned that my purpose is always going to be there. So my purpose is to help, but am I answering the call? And am I answering the call correctly? We could be answering the call like, yes, I want to help people, but you're over there helping on the wrong team. Where you at? Where you the quarterback is trying to throw you the ball and you somewhere else. You
Yes.
got to be where the quarterback is about to throw the ball. Those are the people
Yes.
that you're supposed to help. That's where your position is. And
Yes.
unless you are in the right position, you won't be able to catch the ball and get a what is it? I was about to say home run, and a home run is
Touchdown.
for baseball.
Touchdown.
A
Touchdown.
touchdown.
Mm-mm.
So
Yes.
we try to get these touchdowns in life, but we have to be in the right position. And so that's what I learned about my purpose is that if I'm completely, perfectly aligned
Mm.
with what I'm supposed to be doing, then I'm always going to be in my purpose. I'm always going to walk in my purpose. And the lessons will be so much better learned because now I'm really like, oh, that's an unlearned lesson. Thank you. So, and this is another thing that I do. Thank you so much for bringing this bullshit into my life so I could learn this lesson. I could overcome this. Oh, and I'm very, very particular. So anything that comes into my life, despite of whatever it is, what is it? What is this presenting to me? Is it an unlearned lesson or is it my purpose? Oh, this is my purpose. Okay. Well, let me see where I need to be in order to answer the call, because sometimes our purpose presents itself and we have not done the things that are necessary in order to step into the person or the moment, really the moment that is presenting itself.
Yes.
So
Yes.
what can I learn from that? Oh, I need to learn that despite, and just like right now, this birthing period, a lot of people are going through some bad labor and pains. I am one of them. In that, I'm embracing it. I'm accepting it, but I'm also not running from it. I'm going to keep on with my target, my eye on the target, and keep on moving forward. I'm not letting up to my purpose. I'm not letting up to my goal, but I'm going to keep on moving forward, And so those are the things that in these times, and from back then, what I was taught, I gave up. I had a miscarriage, a spiritual miscarriage in those times. I had spiritually aborted the mission in certain things in my areas of my life. And so it came up again. Okay, well, we're going to throw you some fire, but are you going to be able to overcome it? And it came up over and over again. And every time I was like, oh, it's too hot in this kitchen. Let me go on ahead and do it another time. Let me go on ahead and, oh, I can't, whatever the case may be, till I did not follow through. Now there's nothing. There is no other option but for things to manifest for me. There's no other option but for me to win. And so that's what I've learned from the things of the past.
Oh, that is so powerful. All right. I want to ask you, what do you feel like your mission on this planet is, or in this world? Let's say that. What do you feel like your mission is?
And that's so funny that you said that, because I was like, you know what? If you look at the, it's almost a silver lining through my life. Or it's called, I think it's the scarlet thread of where you could see Jesus throughout the whole, like, Old Testament, New Testament, and all these things, right? But if you look through my life, that's what I advocating. That's what I came to the. I love to advocate for truth. I love to advocate for wellness. I love to advocate for spirituality. I love to advocate for safe spaces. People deserve to have safe spaces and integration. And I feel like integration is just not when you're going and experiencing like things like plant medicine, but it's for both sides, whether it be conventional medicine or whether it be complementary and natural medicines. When you are experiencing these things, like even massage therapy or yoga, or like I said, going to the doctor, there you go. Going to the doctor, you need to have some form of integration happening, because at times if we're left up for some certain people left up to their own, devices, they're going to go down the wrong path. You could become more depressed. You could become more damaged. You could become more in a bad situation because you have failed to help this person through integration. I think more people need to be talking about, more practitioners need to be talking about integration. More health professionals need to be talking about integration. And even if it's not for their own individual practice that offers these things, they need to be able to offer some kind of resource to point this person in the right direction. Well, this group does integration specifically for, let's just say, people that have family members that suffer from mental health. Who are they going to talk to? Who are they going to, to help them to integrate them now, just finding out that their family member is suffering from a mental illness? These are things that needs to be put in place for our well-being. And that's me. I'm an advocate. I'm an activist. And that's what I love doing.
I love that. All right, I have one more question and we're going to land this plane. So, if there was one thing in the world that you could change, what would that be?
That's such a, and it's very interesting because I wouldn't change a thing.
Wow.
And that's, and, because everything has a place in life, even the most crazy things that you might think like, why does this exist? It has a reason. What I tell people is this: take a puzzle, right? When you're talking about a puzzle, if one piece of that puzzle was missing, would that puzzle be complete?
Of course not.
So that's how I see everything in life. If one piece of this puzzle was missing, it wouldn't be complete. So I wouldn't take anything from it. What I would take from it, though, is things that will help me to evolve. If you learn how to use the energy that comes towards you, utilize whatever that energy is that comes towards you, and use it to transmute your experience and your story, nothing will be useless. Nothing that you experience, not one single thing, even if you're, driving down the highway and you see a sign that says something, not one thing that you experience in your day-to-day life and in your lifelong journey will be useless.
That's powerful. That is powerful, sis. I have to say that because when I thought of that question, my answer would be racism. That would be my answer, just because, because I went through integration and all that stuff because I'm that age, and so I think about that, and I've seen so much of it because I've lived all up the East Coast and now on the West Coast, not in nowhere in the middle because I don't do that type of cold, but and those type of natural disasters, tornadoes, and no, not interested. So, but yeah, that is such a powerful thing that there was nothing that you would change. Oh my God, that's evolution. That is evolution. Yes.
Yeah.
So we have enjoyed this conversation. Oh my God, it's been so amazing. And I hope that, all of you were able to get something out of it. And so from myself and Denise, we thank you for being here. And thank you so much for joining us on Straight Outta Savannah.
Thank you so much for having me.
You're so welcome. It was my pleasure.